Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to another therapeutic meeting, Enlightening the Shire Spiritist Group. My name is Fran, and we've got Flavia here as well. And we're just about to start our harmonization so we can begin our therapeutic meeting tonight. So I would just welcome you all to close your eyes, and if you are comfortable with this, let's imagine a bright white light that has been brought to us by our spiritual mentors. Let's imagine this light harmonizing our energy, supporting us in our embracing of these teachings that we're going to be reviewing tonight. Let's embrace the balancing of our energies along with the ones from our guardian angels and all the spiritual mentors from Lighting the Shire Spiritist Group, and of all the individuals that are here joining us live tonight. Let's feel this positive energy helping us reflect around things that are relevant to us, that will be helping us in our lives, that they can help us really feel deep in our hearts anything that we can do towards our moral elevation, our spiritual elevation and growth. And may this peace and serenity also embrace the whole of humanity around us in the spiritual realm. We ask for the blessings as we give also thanks for the opportunity of being here tonight once again, for the love and light that is always spiritual growth and evolution. May this peace and love stay with all of us as we conduct this meeting tonight. So be it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I start?
Thank you. Yes, I'll give you the stage, Fla.
All right. My name is Flavia. I hope everyone had a great week or start of the week. So today what we're going to talk is about the law of justice and our moral responsibilities. I think it's a big topic because, like, what is actually justice? So we're seeing that, around the world, countries, like, they have different, parameters of justice. So what it actually characterize justice? So in the dictionary, actually, so justice is the ethical, philosophical idea that people are to be treated impartially, fairly, or properly, and reasonably by the law and arbiters of the law. So, and the law are to ensure that no harm befalls another, and that where harm is alleged, remedial action is taken. So, if we, making kind of think about it, so the law is created. Okay, we're talking human laws, so created to protect people. Are we, like, when we're talking human laws, are really protecting us? So, or sometimes protecting interests of, big companies or certain groups of people, wherever. So, and I think this is the talk today. We're going to talk a little bit that, but so when we talk of law of justice, so we have these divine laws. So we have the divine law of justice. On the book, the Spiritist book, on chapter 10, we talk about the law of justice. And on a question 873, so there's few questions. So for people that doesn't know, the Spiritist book was the first book that was codified by Allan Kardec. So it's a series of questions. I think it's 1,019 questions that were So there were questions, and then the spirits actually answer. So the answers were brought by mediums, via mediums, and from different mediums around the world, compile into a book. So it's questions about everything. So on the chapter 10, as I mentioned, is we talk about the law of justice, and it is asked. So Kardec's asking, is the sense of justice natural or is a product of acquired ideas? So in response, that it's actually natural, yeah. So that you are immediately appalled by ideas of injustice. So moral progress, definite, inspires this feeling, but does not create it. So God, and God, like, it's a very big concept, wherever you name it, prana, wherever you believe is, has placed into the heart of all human beings. And this is why you often find more stringent notions of justice in simple, primitive notions than others are more educated. So, and this is go to then our moral like the moral responsibilities or the moral concept. So understanding that we do have the sense of justice inside of us, regardless, our level of evolution. So when things happen, thinking, is this right, was this wrong? And then Kardec asks, if justice is a law of nature, why do people understand it so differently? And this is very, very interesting. I think this is in all, I think, all levels of society and for wherever systems it are. Yeah. So it responds, and I say it's because our passions are often mingled with this sentiment and corrupted, as they do with most natural sentiments, causing to see things from a false point of view. So we tend to view and see things according to the way we grow up, like sometimes the way we were taught, or our upbringing, our environment, our culture. And I think that is what normally makes people see in a different way. So sometimes what might be right for me, or what I think is just, might not be just necessary for someone else. The old say, so I used to say, like, common sense doesn't exist. I learned my lesson, because what I think might be common for me or for be obvious might not be for someone else. And that applies to all levels of our knowledge, wherever it is. We tend to act and react according to our life experiences. And everyone has different life experiences, as I said, upbringings, different cultures. So, and then Kardec asks, how should we define justice? And then he says, justice is respect for the rights of each and every individual, which is pretty interesting. So it comes then to, and then we're just going to go through a little bit the Spirit's book, and then we discuss a little bit more. So, and what determine these rights? So then two things: human law and natural law. So natural law are all the laws of nature, yeah, which govern us. So as a human beings, we created laws in harmony with their values and characters. Those laws have established rights that have varied with progress and enlightenment. And I think on this one, like when we're talking about human law, we can even analyze within different countries. Like, they have different laws, like things that we might consider. So we are in Australia, right? some things that we might consider just, and like all the laws we have here differs from the other countries. Like countries like America, they have like the death penalty. Like so many countries have death penalties. Lots of other countries don't have death penalties. And say, like, things that we consider in our systems, we consider a child marriage an absurd. In some countries, that's natural. In their law, the way wherever it was created, they find that is not an absurd. It's common, it's part of their culture, it's part of, like, not trying to justify, but like, those are actually the human laws created by men and enforced wherever, practiced. And so it's a difference, yeah. So also says our laws, yeah, they are away from perfect and no longer include that were considered rights in the Middle Age. So we can see some of the societies how actually backwards, yeah. So like some of these laws and these systems were actually created like centuries ago and haven't actually changed. So for us, these actually looks horrific, yeah. But like, as I said, for them, it looks appear natural and fair. So also these rights are established by humans and not necessary, and humans are not always compliant with justice. In addition, they only govern certain relations, while there are an infinite numbers of actions that only tried privately by our conscience. So who are the lawmakers? Yeah. So are they, as I mentioned before, are they defending the interest of people, or they defending an interest of an institution? And all those laws that are made by man that generally have sort of an agenda. And we can see in some instances how actually human laws don't actually protect the frail, the vulnerable necessarily. So Kardec also says, like, the basis of justice according to natural law is do not do unto others as you would have others to unto you. So this is probably a very old way of saying, but like, and I do actually think that it's one of the first, is actually part of like the commandments. Yeah. So like in Spiritism is one of the biggest, like says is if we follow only that, yeah, regardless of what you have, so don't do to others what you don't want, to be done to yourself. I reckon the world would be a different place. We probably didn't even need human laws to govern, because then maybe conflicts and situations will not happen. So when, and that, they say, like, when uncertain to what we should do in regard to others at any given moment, we should ask ourselves that we would want others to do to us under the same circumstances. And that is very powerful, because before you actually open your mouth, before you actually, go and argue with someone, or maybe have a situation, maybe put yourself in someone's shoes, like say, okay, if I was on that person's place, right, what should I do? How I wanted to be treated? And so it's very important. Sometimes we put ourselves in other people's to be able to get perspective of the situation. So the true measure of justice, and Kardec says, in fact, is wanting for others what we want for ourselves, and not the opposite. Yeah, not wanting for others what you want for yourself, but like so Kardec also asks, does our need to live in society imposes any special obligation? And the Spirit says yes. And the first of those is to respect the right of others, as those who respect those rights will always be fair. Social life gives rights and imposes correspondent duties. This is also, I find, like very interesting, because we are in these, we are very good to demand our rights, but what are our responsibilities? Yeah, with like we all want our rights to be respected, but do we actually accomplish, or we actually do the things we have to do? That's so it's always a big thing. So remember that we always have a right and responsibilities. So it's very important to just remember that. So society rights die within the institutions. Always remember that, like things change according to as things evolves, I suppose. So those who thinks that they are superior know what duty is giving them the right to be admired. So in that sense, saying like, only the person that's actually admires, the justice is part of that. It's like, not necessarily putting yourself up there, but just, like the right people, not necessarily the powerful, yeah, are actually generally the most just ones. So that of the true justice, following the example of Jesus, because they would love their neighbor and practice charity. Without those virtues, can be no real justice. So very important, like understand that justice. Yeah, so without helping others. One of the things we always say in Spiritism is all that's given to us, all the wealth, all the, that's given to us is also not necessarily so for us to keep, but to help others. So, and he is mentioned, yeah, so be able to practice charity. The concept of charity, for me, the most best concepts of charity is to give something without expecting something back. So when you do good for someone, wherever that is, might be a family member, friends, might be a stranger. Like when you do something for someone, is actually you're doing because you wanted to. So it's kind of it doesn't matter if that person responds in a negative way. You've done because you wanted to. We see a lot, and I sometimes cut myself, like when I do something to someone, I always is expecting maybe a thank you, maybe a smile, or not necessarily you're gonna get that. So it's very important that we always remind that. So to be able also to be just and to be fair, we have also to be charitable, and we have to be benevolent, and all of those qualities. So when we're talking human justice, so when I was trying to get this talk, like, and just came over on like our justice, the human justice is very fragile. It's very corrupted. I'm not sure. Like we know that. I was looking at some statistics, and it's saying like in Australia, Victoria, the state of Victoria, like since 1951, there is about 200 cold cases, cases that have been resolved within the police. So when I was, researching to do this talk, like some of the people were talking, giving some examples, like we see people that have power, abuse the power, do a lot of stuff and never get caught. And they might not get caught on this life. You might not pay the price for their wrongdoings in this lifetime. Thinking that, like they can get away with everything and nothing happens. Yeah, we have to understand that, like, corruption, there is, in all levels in our society when we're talking to our justice. In America itself, like I think 35% of all homicides are unsolved. So it means that someone took someone else's life and never in life will maybe pay for that crime. When we look into those perspectives, so we really think that, if we only have a view of this life, most of people would claim like how God is unjust, because they only see life as these moments in time. So we also, like, I mentioned before, like people in some countries have death penalty. And it's I had a look on his statistics saying, like, in America, since 1973, about 197 people were wrongly convicted to death and sentenced to death in the US. And that is the dangers. Some people defend death penalties, like, like this is remembering this is human justice, not, the divine justice of part of the law of justice. Because according to the law of justice, right, taking up, like, a life, it doesn't exist whatsoever. So if for any reasons, like, you'd rather be killed than kill someone. So, and I think when we're talking about our moral responsibilities, yeah, so we actually know what actually, as I mentioned at the beginning, those natural laws, which is part of, like, law of labor, law of justice, they're actually built with us. So we do know what actually we should be doing. Sometimes not necessarily. It can come, like these kind of can come in forms of maybe instincts or maybe intuition. Yeah, the little voice we have when we're doing stuff. This is actually part of this, moral, the morals that are inside us, right? So they help us and guide our path to do good. So one of the says, there was actually a say that I found one day, was reading on social media, and it was a very philosophical saying. It says, wrong is wrong, even if everyone is doing. Right is right, even if no one is doing it. I find that's very, I am actually a teacher, and I always say that to my students, because we always try to justify our actions based on what someone else does. We have a big tendency to do that, to excuse our wrongdoings or trying to justify, like because someone else did the same thing. I've done because that person did too. But we know that probably we have done wrong, but we're still trying to justify, and justify with, other people's actions. So it's very important for us just to understand, so that when we life is beyond this realm. So when we think that actually we're not going to, our spirit doesn't die. So wherever we've done wrong in this life, we will be paying. If we don't pay on this life, we will suffer the consequences in next life. So all the wrong we're seeing around the world, we have to understand that regardless what it is, that person will pay one day. For me, that brings a lot of comfort, because we understand that actually nothing goes unpunished. So, and God is so great that sometimes we, even though we do really bad things, we might pay that in through few incarnations. So understanding that through justice, people learn how to respect others people's rights. And justice person is the one that practices paternity and kindness, as mentions, and how the Creator allows us, good and bad things happening. So sometimes, understanding that bad things happen can be also consequences of things we've done in past lives. Because we do have free will. We're not necessarily born to actually do wrong, but it happens. So sometimes, we make choices that goes in different way. And so God does not actually punish us. Like some people think that's God's punishment, but it's not. And understanding that our punish, like wherever it's our conscious, like when we disincarnated, our conscious is actually weights more. So understand also the hardships help us to evolve, and sometimes to repent our wrong past doings. So I don't think I do have much time. I was going to tell a little story, but I think that so I do it for now. Like Fran, do we have any more time or not really?
We need to wrap up in 3 minutes. So I was just gonna say that both in the Spirit's book and the Gospel according to Spiritism, when we discuss the law of justice, we also understand that the law of love is above everything, and that we only suffer still in this planet because we haven't learned how to love the way that we were built to do. So we sometimes choose this path, but it's through the divine mercy that we have the opportunities to I guess continue evolving. And I was having a conversation with someone this week because of these sad happenings that we had in Sydney, and they were saying like, what's happening, what is, where is God when these things are happening? And my answer was, well, God is pure love, and if it wasn't for his love, we wouldn't be here, and it's not up to us to judge, because that could have been us making that same mistake a few lives back. So if we learn another thing in Spiritism is not to judge, because it's not to judge the person, only to analyze the situation, because we could have been that person doing those things not long ago, or given the situation we could be doing exactly the same thing. So we should just embrace love and send love to those people that are still sadly doing those things, because they are like you said, they're going to be enduring the consequences, and we don't want anyone to suffer. We want everyone to progress. But yes, very well covered. Thank you.
Thank you. So shall we do our final harmonization?
Harmonization? Yes.
Yeah.
You can
Okay.
post it. Thank you.
So thanks everyone for being here, being with us today. And let's get this beautiful energy and love created by this meeting. Thanking all the light workers of Light in the Shire for the opportunity of being here. Let's ask these workers to send this love, this energy, this beautiful and healing energy to all the people all around the world, for the world peace, for this energy to clear and our atmosphere around the globe. Let's send this energy for all the people that are in hospitals, in nursing homes, orphanages, and prisons. All the people that made bad decisions in life, that the human law actually took them away. So sending them our love so they can actually reflect on their actions. All the people around the world that are suffering with illnesses, people that live in poverty, live in dysfunctional families, sending our energy and our love to all the politicians, the lawmakers, and the people that have the power to change people's life. That the spirituality can guide them through and helping them to make good decisions that benefit the whole, the human beings, the nature. And let's send this energy to, in Australia specifically, to all those peoples that lost their lives into the bondage, siege, all the people that actually suffer with mental health. Mental health is a big problem that we have around the world. So send our love and to our family and friends all over the world, and asking this spirituality to give their blessings for one more month. Our Therapeutic Talk is they're protecting us, and we may be able to come back and watch again in another month's times for another Therapeutic Talk. So peace be with all of us. Okay.
Thank you, Fla. Peace be with us. So thank you
Thank you.
everyone who was able to join us. And just so we can already give you the dates in advance, our next therapeutic meeting will take place on Tuesday, the 28th of May. And the topic is contemporary parenting, the spiritist view in raising good humans. So we hope you can join us and we can discuss this topic a little bit further. We know how challenging, I guess, things are getting for any parent out there living in this world. So hopefully we can discuss that with you. So we'll see you just before 8 p.m., 7:55 on the 28th of May. Thank you so much and have a lovely month ahead. Peace be with you all.